I tell my kids all the time, spend time with each other as a family because that's your support system, that's your backbone.
Today's commandment is family first. You have a show that's coming out on the Reels Network. It's called Master P's Family Empire.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that show. It's a reality show?
It's a reality show talking about, it's showing my family life. Me and my kids building a generational wealth is untraditional to what's out there in the reality space right now. It's about family values, positive. We're not a perfect family, but, you know, we're out to change the game. It's like, for me, building a generational wealth, that means I got to go down to my youngest son, which is 9 years old, Mercy, all the way back up to Romeo, which is 25. And it's like, you know what? We need to start now, focusing on our education, focusing on our faith, and focusing on the wealth that we want to build as a hip-hop family.
Right.
Because when you talk about hip-hop family, you're not supposed to see what we're doing. We're not supposed to be preparing for the future. And having a change mindset, what you normally see with hip-hop families. I mean, you know, the values that I bring to my kids is like, we're not friends. I'm your father. You know, I want you to be better than me. Mm-hmm. This is not about me. This is not about you. This is about us as a family. Changing the game, changing what Hollywood thinks about us, how Hollywood perceives the typical hip-hop family.
You really stay connected to your community.
Yeah.
Just recently, you visited a 9-year-old boy that had been shot.
Yes. And
you brought him a pair of shoes. Why did you do that? And then tell me.
Well, you know, the kid is innocent, first of all. I mean, he just out playing basketball. So whoever the person was shooting at, he had nothing to do with it. And I feel like, no, these kids are our future. We killing our kids. And I know that this kid is a fan of mine, and he, you know, he done seen the programs that I have in the community. And I felt like, you know what? I needed to go see this kid because he's strong, he's brave. You know, when I went to see him, I'm thinking he's gonna have a negative attitude, but he didn't. His attitude, I said, what you wanna be, son, when you get older? He said, I wanna be a police officer. And I would think in that type of neighborhood, that would be the last thing that this kid
That was in Louisville, Kentucky, correct?
Yeah, okay. The kid said, you know, when he said that, he was passionate about it. He said, because he wanted to clean up this neighborhood and change something and save some of these kids. That was touching for me. That was like, it was unexpected.
You had families members that had been murdered.
Yeah.
Family members. Your brother C. Murder is in prison right now.
Like I said, we're not a perfect family, and I feel like I could help these kids because I didn't experience this, even in my own household. I'm not hiding that. It's like, you know what? I got a brother that died at a young age, and I used to get on my knees and ask the man up above, like, why would you take my brother? And you know, I realized that God do everything for a reason. You know, it made me a stronger man, made me understand and appreciate life, value life, made me change my life. You know, I had to change my life. You know, I had Romeo at a young age, and I said, you know what I want to be? I want to watch this kid go to college. I want to, you know, be here for my kids. I want to be able to spend those times that a father should spend, you know, with his kids. And I had to change my life. So, you know, this is, nobody's perfect, but you got to be willing to change.
99.9% of the people in this world will never have been in the situation that you've been as a hip-hop entrepreneur and a mogul, which is a very unique experience.
You know, my life come from a lot of struggle, but I didn't let that stop me. You know, like I've always worked for what I wanted. And
but will you be showing?
I'm showing everything.
This interaction.
I'm showing everything, showing the good, the bad, everything. I mean, nothing is easy in this world. Even for my kids, I'm not just giving my kids. You know, you got to work for it. You got a business you want, you got to bring me a business plan. What I like about doing the reality shows, I thought I never would be ever do a reality show. But what was different about this, getting with, you know, with the Hubbard family and Reels channel, saying that let's do something positive. Let's showcase something positive. Let's not hide your spiritual side. Let's not hide, you know, where you come from. Let's not hide. I don't have to change my music. My music is one person. You know, my business savvy is another person. But the most important thing, the way I raise my kids as a father, that's the most important hat that I feel like as an African-American person, you know, they always talk negative. Man, the fathers are not there. What are they doing? You know, I don't go on the road most of the time because I have to be with my kids. You know, most of the time my kids want to come with me. Like my youngest son, he wanted to come. He was like, well, I'm going to say, let's go, son.
Yeah, he's here today. Which is really cool.
And that's what it's about, you know, the stereotype that they put on hip-hop people. There are some good hip-hop people out there. There's a lot of bad hip-hop people out there, but there are some people that want to change their life, and they doing this for their family.
Yeah, you sold over 75 million records. You made hundreds of millions of dollars in the industry, and both as a CEO and as an artist, which is very important. Are you still serious about the record business as you once were, and if so, what kinds of projects are you looking for?
What I'm serious about now is the next generation. I feel like I found the next generation of stars. I created this team of artists, and we call them Money Mafia, and it's about the youth that come from the struggle but have real talent and out to make real money. None of these 360 deals type of stuff are just selling your soul to pull a record out, but being able to have the patience and work through it. You know, that's what it's about with me. You know, seeing somebody else's dreams come to life that I could physically touch, knowing that they come from a rough life like me, but saying, man, look, I made it, you can make it. Mm-hmm. So,
and what's really great about you is your business mind. I mean, I was just thinking about this today. You were probably the first artist who actually made a sound part of your idea. So once people heard, what do you call it, the no limit growl, or what is it?
Well,
once people heard that, they knew, okay, this is P, this is no limit.
You gotta identify yourself when you're building a brand.
But how did you come up with that?
Well, you know, going to college, understanding what business, marketing, communication is. I studied business, marketing, communication in college. And first thing people have to be able to identify your brand. That's what I learned. So I could have named my company anything.
Yeah.
On the street records or whatever. I say, you know what? My company gonna be no limit because there's gonna be no limit to what I can do. And I'm gonna master the game. So I named my artist name Master P, which my first name is Percy, but I want to master whatever I do.
And if you think about even specifically that period where it seemed like you were putting out a different record on your label once a week.
Yeah, what people don't realize, once you build a fan base, you need to feed that fan base. And that's how I sold 75 million records. I didn't sit back and say, I just want to be a star. Say, no, I want to work. You got to get out here and touch the people. You got to get on the road. To put those type of records out and that many records, you got to go out and touch the people. You got to get out and do a lot of the marketing for these projects. And a lot of people not ready to do that. They want to live off of their success and just sit back and party and pat themselves on the back. And I said, no, I got a fan base. I want to build that fan base bigger.
Okay, so now we have this environment where streaming looks to be becoming the norm, and we're going to see a paradigm shift away from downloads towards streaming. Yeah. How do you make money in that environment?
Well, you got to own the rights to the projects that you put out, because the record companies are going to make money. Because at the end of the day, when you streaming music, it's going to be one big payoff and put it in a pot, and all these major labels are going to make money. So none of the artists are going to make money. They're going to make money off of touring. And if you understand that part of owning your digital rights now, when people understand that, because think about it, it's easy to make music now. Mm-hmm. You can make music, download it, stream it, put it up on the web, touch your fans instantly. I had to get on the road. Like they called me the Avon man. Like the Avon lady come around.
Literally,
Yeah, pop the stuff out the trunk of their car. That's what I had to do to make my money. My whole marketing strategy was, I'm gonna touch every hood in America. And that's what I did. I got in a van, wrapped my No Limit van. We didn't have wrap then. We had to paint it. So I painted the No Limit logo on the side of my van, and I just hit every city, every hood, went and played basketball. So I beat the guys in basketball in the hood. Then they say, you know what, I like you, man. You know, I even went in some tough neighborhoods. I remember one neighborhood I went into, I was in Detroit. So you see the guy had a shotgun, and I went back. I said, man, should I go back there? But I said, you know what? I ain't did nobody nothing. I'm going to go in there and try to sell my record. So the guy said, man, you crazy. You know, coming back here, this music better be good. I even got $10 out the guy. So I sold him a CD for $10. You know, he got a shotgun in his hand. He said, wow, you either crazy or this music better be good. But, you know, when you believe in something and you're passionate about it, and I realized I come from the ghetto, that I didn't do nobody nothing.
Right.
So when I see these people, I wasn't afraid of them. I was just like, you know what? I want them to enjoy my music.
What's different about you, and also I saw this in Luther Campbell, that a lot of the kids don't see, is that you owned a record company.
Yes.
Luther was doing the pools. He was going in, so he understood the network of DJs. I understood
the business from a retail standpoint. So when I watched the NWA records come in, and I seen it was dark, and people couldn't see it by me owning a retail store, you know, I made the bling. I had a Rolex watch that was diamond and gold, so I told the guy at the art company, Pen and Pixel, I said, can you make my logo bling? Can you make the tank, put the diamonds and the words No Limit, bling it out in diamonds? That's when the whole bling era came. And when people walk in the store, they see the No Limit. Even if they didn't know who we were, they was like, what's that? I want that. You know, and that's what you got to realize. You got to, like, people don't realize you got to be good at something. You know, like when people talk about me, my music is good, and I done that, but people look at me as a marketing genius because I knew how to market my product by owning my own retail store.
Well, you diversified and you changed culture.
Yes.
With the same thing. And coming from the South,
Yeah.
that was a very unique thing because hip-hop was always thought of as East Coast or West Coast. Did you face any resentment from the fact that you were from the South?
People was afraid to say they was from the South. I know guys from the South that I knew that besides me, the Ghetto Boys, and Luke, people would be from the South and say they're from New York or they're from the West Coast because they didn't think that people was going to like their music. And, you know, I just made it cool to be country. Say, you know what, I'm going to represent where I'm from, even though I moved to Richmond, California to change my life, but I'm going to represent New Orleans. And that's what people liked about me.
And that's where basically the music industry is headquartered now, whether people like it or not. You guys stuck together too. I noticed that there's a real grassroots support. If you go down to FAMU or anywhere in the South, people are dancing in the clubs to local artists. And that's you don't see that here.
Now a lot of local artists stick together in the South, and the DJs stick together. And that's how we was able to create a movement, which the bounce movement and, you know, music. Like if you look at back in the days, my thing, I tell kids all the time, to start a business, you got to find a problem. What I found the problem was in hip hop, the Southern music was slow. The music was too slow back then. And I said, by me being from New Orleans, I'm going to amp it up. I'm going to add that bounce. And that's what I did to it. So now people are dancing off of Southern music.
Yeah, okay, just a couple quick questions from my Facebook audience. This one is from Steve Larson, one of my good friends, but I also wanted to know this. So what about the production team Beats by the Pound that helped you in creating the No Limit sound? What happened to them?
Well, a lot of those guys, you know, once you get famous and you blow up like that, a lot of those guys think it's because of them and they want to do their own thing. I decided to say, you know what? I'm not holding nobody back. It's like a university. If you want to go on, go on. And I'm going to keep finding and searching for new talent. And what I did now, I think I found one of the best production persons I ever met in my whole life, even better than Beats by the Pound. This kid called Black and Mild. He's from New Orleans, and he's one of the founders of the whole bounce sound. Okay. And he's just making great music.
So now you're going to integrate him into your thing. Okay. Carmen McCraney wants to know, what's the lowest point you've ever been in your life, and what do you believe was the catalyst that made you want to get up?
Well, after my brother got killed, you know, I felt like just giving up. And then I watched my mom, I watched her cry, and I watched her go through a depressing moment. I said, I got to do something. I got to change the way this family living. I got to change our values. I got to do things that's going to be righteous, that when people look back on us, they can remember us, knowing that we did something good instead of, you know, the violence and what was going on in the neighborhood.
Do you regret any of the messaging that you put out? Because I listened to it too, and I listen to it now, and I say, wow, this stuff was really hard.
Oh, it was really, you know what, it was hard, but at the end of the day, I really wouldn't, I thought I wanted to change it. I tried to do that, but I can't, because it's not me, and it's not reaching the people I need to reach. You know, what I learned now is that I got to learn that what I've been doing in the past. If you listen to all my records, it might be hard, but I tell you, and sometimes heroes turn out to be zeros when you're talking about ghetto heroes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you, like, you got to imagine, right, when I'm dealing with kids and I got a foundation going to let the kids grow, but the kids don't want to listen to no preacher. They don't. These kids want to be able to relate to experts that have been through. So I gotta be like the godfather to these kids for them to understand me, knowing, look at my life. This is what I've been through. I can't sugarcoat it. So in my music, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna make hard street music, but at the same time, I'm gonna give them some kind of message so I could grab them. It's kind of like dangling a carrot. If I come too soft for these kids, you know, if you like politicians out here, you know, in the ghetto, I grew up in the ghetto, you hear a politician come through, even though there are great ones out there, but kids always feel like, okay, they come and take a picture, come say this, and they're not gonna change nothing in the community. If I don't sell records and be able to do what I need to do, I won't be able to reach these kids, and maybe I won't be able to save the ones that I can save, because they feel like the music is not realistic to the lifestyle that they living in, the pain and the struggle. Because the music with pain and struggle is gonna grab those young people because they're experiencing that. No, you can't be afraid to, you know, like I tell you all the time, even the music, I listened to Ice-T Colors back in the days. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking. But do that make me want to go out and kill somebody? No, it's music. It's hard, it's street, that's what I want to hear. I'm in that environment. But that don't make me want to go out and commit a crime.
Yeah.
You know, going out and commit a crime is something that you want to do. The music is not going to make you do that. That's an excuse.
You make a good point. When I was a kid, I was in a group called the 2+2 Crew.
Yeah.
And one of the guys is a lawyer.
Yeah.
The other guy is assistant superintendent.
Yeah.
Of a school district, and I'm at the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
And the other guy's been married to the same woman for like 20 years.
But back then, nobody probably would have thought of that.
But we were hip hop.
Yeah.
We're products of the hip hop generation. So
but we need to show people, like, look what we're doing now.
Yeah.
That we can do things, we can run the community, we can help sell product. You know what I mean?
But that
talk
inspired you to do it. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you look at even all the rock and roll people. Look at them. They was hippies running around doing that type of stuff. A lot of these people, governors, they teachers, they lawyers, all kind of things. But you wouldn't, you know, you're not expecting to look at that like. And I think that's where this world, we stereotype people without even getting to know them. You know, that's what I want to do with the show.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not gonna let people stereotype us. We're gonna show them what hip hop is about and what we've grown to and what this network real is about. It's like this network took advantage of believing in me and my family to do something positive. And I feel like, you know what, I got to show them that we could show them how to make this work. And I think that's the most important thing for me. Is I'm like, once you give me your word, I'm from the streets, you give me your word, I give you my word, that's it. I'm going to do it. You don't have to sign a piece of paper and tell me to make me get up to go do something. I'm obligated.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to this show. Man, we could talk for an hour, man. We'll have to do that sometime. But congratulations on the show. Looking forward to it, Master P, and with all the other ventures.
Nah, it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show, a positive show. And I'm just happy that the world can experience this, you know, because this network is in 70 million homes, so people are going to see this.
Probably many.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, I'm Lee Hawkins, and this is Master P. Thanks for watching. Catch me on Twitter @Lee Hawkins. We'll see you next time.